I have one.
All right, Councilman Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This past Saturday, Mayor Pro Tem Duclos and I attended the West Basin Water District's 13th Annual Water Harvest Festival. And what you see here before me is an award we got for the Mayor's Wyland Challenge to conserve water. And as we know, the West Basin is into conserving water and recycling water. So they were impressed with our challenge. We had two counties, LA County and Orange County, and Hermosa Beach came out #1 with all those cities. And so Mr. Duclos and myself accepted this award on behalf of you, the residents, who made that possible. And so I want to thank you all for once again putting Hermosa in the spotlight. We do what we talk about, and that's to conserve and keep our environment for the future generations. And so I just wanted to bring this tonight to show you that people in the area do look to Hermosa for leadership in conservation areas, and I'm very proud of Hermosa and been able to represent them at this water harvest. So thank you, Hermosa.
And thank you for spearheading that water challenge. I know it was one of your goals as mayor was to have our residents really understand the value of conserving water, so this is a great award, and we all should be very proud of that.
As I campaigned around, a lot of people, one had questions about McPherson Oil, which will go to trial here in January. I feel we have a very good case to win that. But the other thing was, with all the younger families, was what about our schools?
And then the third litigation matter is the McPherson litigation matter. And even though I am not trial counsel for the city in that matter, the matter is scheduled to go to trial in April, and there will be a substantial amount of pre-trial strategizing that will inevitably involve me in terms of both my role as assisting and supporting trial counsel, and also my role as a witness in the case.
A little bit more detail than I was seeking, but I had an idea, but that's a lot, that's a huge appropriation, especially when you're only asking, staff is only asking for $172,000, and yours is $150,000 of that.
I agree, and it is very unusual. It's never, I mean, it's unprecedented. If you look back over the years, as I say, I can't think of a time when my office has been handling litigation for the city. We've been very, very free of litigation. Most of the litigation has either been the litigation covered by our insurance.
You can certainly make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we are to appoint Mr. Duclos and Mr. DiVirgilio, who just winced when I said that, to continue in the capacity that they have been serving so well in as the subcommittee responsible for public relations.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Discussion on the
Yeah, Mayor, I just wanted
nominees.
I have a counter.
Well, I can speak highly for one of them. I won't take it.
Which one?
But I just wanted to speak to this because there was, I think in a way it spoke to the need for this, because there was the concept being that we were going to bring in some spin doctors to weave some tale, which is not what we're suggesting here. We're suggesting we're going to do an information campaign, as we have been doing since this process began, to try and inform the public, and to continue to inform the public, and to continue a dialogue with the public in relation to this important issue. And so I just wanted to make that clear, that that we are not hiring anybody. We're essentially delegating to members of council to take this on as a formal task, and this is the first opportunity we as a council have had to do that since this happened.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah, please.
Michael?
Now my wincing is on the record. This is
It was so visible.
I winced only because I had a different thought. Sort of always reluctant to turn down a task that my colleagues would want me to do. But I guess let me say it this way. One of the things I envision being a component of this would be that we would be doing some sort of on-the-ground outreach. Somebody shows up at the Women's Club meeting in April and does a Q&A, right? Does a background and Q&A and sort of gets it all out. And I think to the extent that that is how this is going to go, I think what I worry about being on this committee is I actually think that the person, provided schedule and availability, the roles that should be doing that are the mayor role and the mayor pro tem role, because I think it says something different to just have the body leader sort of at the Kiwanis meeting, at the library meeting, and then if Howard's the mayor and this is going on, and he can't make the meeting, then he delegates and Jeff or the mayor pro tem, and then if neither of you two can make it, then we open it up. So I'm a little worried about being on the committee, but then not really thinking I'm the one that, in my role, should be the one doing the meetings, and that's kind of why I went. So my proposal is going to be that we have the mayor and mayor pro tem do it. To the extent that surpasses Howard's time, then it would just shift to the two of you.
Okay, well, I'll withdraw my motion if you'd like to make another one.
Okay.
Well, I've withdrawn mine, so there is no motion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Did you have something you wanted to?
Well, I just want to remind ourselves that I believe in April we rotate the mayorship.
Yeah, the way I'm viewing it is the mayor would be Jeff Duclos and Kit is the mayor pro tem. It's not the two of us because I have one more meeting. So that's
When's the transition?
how I view it. Yeah,
I think that you could come back at our future meeting and tell us what you think is the best
I've
deal.
already told you what the best deal
But
is.
how do you know that they're better
possibly
than
know
two
when
you
they're-
don't have?
Well, wait.
How do you know they're better than two you don't have? We don't even have a deal to compare to from Citi or Chase. How do you know that Bank of America deal is the best deal compared to those two?
And this is why you do RFPs, because of the transparency. This council harps on transparency, and what we are put in a position now, and I could give a rat's furry behind what Anaheim does. What we do in this city is that we are transparent, and we ask people to put their cards on the table so that the public can see. And every time that there is a process where we do not do that, people have a reasonable grounds for suspicion and to wonder who in fact is making the decisions and why they're making them. We can avoid that altogether by having a transparent, completely open process. It did not occur here. We have someone from the community. I have tremendous faith in all of you, and it is a hard thing, believe me when I tell you that it is a hard thing to sit here and put this on an agenda knowing that there are many of you out there, some of you who I even respect, JR, George, I mean that as a joke, who are going to come in here and tell me, that I am the son of unmarried parents publicly. And it's hard. And Michael and I have taken a lot of heat for this because we were responsible for putting the settlement together. Mr. Schmelzer.
George Schmelzer, I do apologize for having spoken on the last one. You made it clear that you could only speak on one, but this is the one that I came down for. It's been 25 years or more since I've spoken about oil. I thought it was a thing of the past. I thought we had done our job and buried it, but now it is back again. I've spoken with some members of the school board. I've spoken with most of the city council. And from the city council, I've been mildly, and I say that, mildly rebuked for bringing up an issue before all the information is out there. All of you who I've spoken with said, George, calm down. Once this happens and that happens and this happens, then all the information will be there. And when I ask you guys, to get out there and be skeptical and start asking questions, well, the data doesn't exist yet. We can't take a position yet. We don't know the answers yet. But that's not what EMB Oil is doing. I'm sitting back and waiting for the information. But EMB is out there in the community. They're talking with the school board. I think there's a subcommittee at the school board deals with them. I expect you guys have talked with them. Of course, the city manager has talked with them. But I don't know anything about what's going on. I was invited through the automatic invitation system to a Morongo gambling venture out of Hermosa Beach. Well, I love that. I mean, that's what community, that's how you get notified of things. I had a notification in email of an upcoming meeting of the Planning Commission late in February. I had another automatic update of what was happening at the City Council 2 or 3 weeks. Did I get an update on this tonight? No. Should I have been concerned? The only reason I'm not concerned is because I sent the mayor an email and he said, hey, here's the parameters. It's kind of small. We're just going to talk about process. This is the most important thing that will hit Hermosa in 25 years, 50 years perhaps. Not notifying people of this in the way that one was notified by the Parks and Recreation, by the community of things like a trip down to Palm Springs is a misplacement of priorities. This was important, and I think you failed the first test of getting people out here. There's a couple things that you have to keep in mind. You talked here tonight about tidal waves. We've talked about earthquakes. We've talked about shootings in the school. Probably nothing can be done ultimately to stop all of those things. But you're entering into one of the big threats to communities that you have it in your power to stop, and that is the drilling of 35 oil wells less than a quarter of a mile from here, which will add a whole another layer, a whole other dimension to the health and safety issues that you were talking about here tonight. By the way, I have a site for a school. It's called the City Yard. And in the purchase of one piece of property, you've connected with South School. That's what that property ought to be used for, not to build 35 oil wells and threaten the health and safety and the air quality of this community. And it has to start here. I'll done in just a moment. So while I'm waiting for this information, E&B Oil isn't waiting. They're hiring people in this community to go out to every meeting, everywhere, to talk about oil. Well, I'm sitting back taking your advice and waiting for the information to come in. Well, I've stopped because they haven't stopped. They're moving forward. And I just putting you on notice that at least as one person, I will be at every meeting, every time it comes up. I'll find ways to know when it's being spoken about, and I'm going to take my 3 minutes every time, if it takes the next 5 years, to make sure that the people of Hermosa Beach understand what's happening when they talk about putting 35 oil wells within a quarter mile of this site. Thanks for the opportunity.